Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio, friends. Come on in, the Bible Bistro's open. And we've got it cooked up hot and fresh today. Yes, we're looking at verses 9 through 11 of Psalm 27. Psalm 27 is beautiful, isn't it? Man, what a joy it's been to study. Verses 1 through 6 remind us a lot of Psalm 23. It's a great confession of faith. And then we come to verse 8. Verse 8 is the axle upon which the entire psalm rotates. It spins on verse 8 because in the good times, verses 1 through 6, when confession is strong and faith is glowing, we have the words, "Seek my face," from the Lord. And in times when faith is weak and confession is also weak, we have verses 9 through 14. And we're going to read today verses 9 through 11. So let me just begin there today. Do not hide your face from me. Do not thrust aside your servant in anger. You have been my help. Do not abandon me and do not forsake me, O God of my salvation. For my father and my mother, they have forsaken me, but the Lord will receive me. Teach me, O Lord, your way. So lead me in a straight way because of my adversaries. Isn't that interesting? He has enemies even in his home. My goodness. Notice how many times, and I think I mentioned this yesterday, the words do not occur. So we have that negative here repeated over and over again. Do not hide your face from me. Do not thrust aside your servant. Do not abandon me. Do not forsake me. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times. O God of my salvation. Now we know that he's the God of his salvation because he began with, the Lord is my light and my salvation. So we've had that already. That's a part of the great confession that we had in the first part of the psalm. Now in the second part, we have confession, but this is a confession of doubt, a confession of grief, a confession of despair. Something's happened, and the psalmist feels abandoned. Do not abandon me. Do not forsake me. And then notice verse 10. How far down in the bucket do you have to be to cry this out? My father and my mother have forsaken me. He says, don't you forsake me because I've got nobody left. Mom and dad are gone. They cut and run. But the Lord will receive me. You see, there are a lot of children that have this experience nowadays, don't they? Mom and dad, they're just concerned about mom and dad, individually or as a couple, and children get left behind. This psalm really is a psalm of the orphan. Mom and dad have left, but Lord, you will receive me. And then notice verse 11. Teach me, O Lord, your way, so lead me in a straight way because of my adversaries. So the prayer now has become, don't leave me, don't abandon me, don't hide your face from me, because the Lord said in verse 8, you've said to my heart, seek my face. Your face, O Lord, I will seek. However, verse 9, don't hide your face from me. So teach me. Don't hide your face. I've got nobody else. There's no place else I can run to because mom and dad closed the door. And that is just so sad that he experienced that kind of abandonment. And so he says to the Lord, don't you leave me now. Perhaps this is the occasion of this part of the psalm, is that, even though the confession of verses 1 through 6 are so strong, yet in the light of the fact that mom and dad shut the door on him, he says, Lord, now don't you leave me. Teach me instead. So to teach means now to bring into your house. We had in verses 1 through 6 a lot about the tent. He's going into that tent of the Lord, and that's where he's going to be hidden, and that's where he's going to offer sacrifices, and that's where he's going to praise the name of the Lord. Now he says, teach me. Bring me back into the tent now, not as a worshiper, but as a learner. Teach me, O Lord, your way. Set me, lead me in a straight path. And also could be translated an upright path or upright way because of my adversaries, who include, by the way, his parents. Some of you listening to this broadcast today, the most ardent, stringent enemies that you have are in your own home. Take heart. David suffered the same. Join me again tomorrow. We'll look at verses 12 to 14 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.